All right, good evening. I believe that they're on YouTube, and over to you, Madam President. But you're on mute because it's 2022.
Yes, okay. Okay, good evening, everyone. Again, like I'm always appreciating you joining us. I know we've been doing Zoom, feel like a lifetime now. Even though we're still learning all the different action that we can take with them, I still appreciate that this evening, lovely evening where you could be somewhere else and you're here with us. So thank you very much. And before we go any further, and as I welcome everyone for coming tonight, I'm going to start off by asking Sister Jinky to read the harassment statement.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. Mutual respect, cooperation, and understanding are strongly held principles of our trade union movement. We will neither condone nor tolerate harassing or discriminatory behavior that creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive environment and undermines the dignity or self-esteem of any individual. An injury to one is an injury to all. Speech or conduct which is racist, sexist, homophobic, or discriminatory in any way is unacceptable to trade unionists and only serves to divide us. Our policies and our practices must reflect this commitment to equality as we work together for justice and dignity in our workplaces, our unions, and in our communities.
Thank you, sister. Next, I'm gonna ask Brother Jeff to do the land acknowledgement.
Good evening, comrades. We are meeting on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit, which was subject to the Dish with One Spoon Treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. Thank you. Let's have a great meeting tonight.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and next, so we have a smooth meeting and everyone is clear as to what's expected. I'm going to turn over to Susan one more time just to take us through the Zoom process. Over to you, Susan.
Thanks very much. We're all a bunch of old hands at Zoom, but still, let's go through the processes. We do ask everybody to put yourselves on mute so it reduces the opportunity for background noise or sometimes the very odd echoes that can happen through other people's computers. Please feel free to use the chat function to share some of your thoughts with each other. If you want to speak on a matter of debate, then please go down to the reactions function and use the function that says raise hand. On your phone, you can do that by pushing *9. And when it comes to voting, only those who are online will be able to vote, and we ask that it only be delegates who vote. We know that there are others who are guests, so we ask for the voting to be done just by those who are delegates. There isn't a voting opportunity for those who are here by phone. And interestingly, you know, in the October meeting, it may be a decision to hold it in person, and then we're going to have to remind ourselves what the in-person processes are. So that's it for the Zoom. I will remind delegates that the meeting is on YouTube and is live, so all of our discussion can be seen by members of the public, along with our own members who may not be delegates, as they're watching this in real time. And we just wanted to remind you of that as you speak to any of the important issues that arise tonight. Thanks very much. Have a great meeting.
Okay, thank you, Susan. And as always, I know a lot of us are here and always welcome anyone that's visiting for the first time and encouraging them to stay. So before we go any further, I'm going to ask if anyone is here for the first time, could you raise your hand? Okay, so I see a few.
I see a few
I see
hands up. I'm not
a few hands.
certain if they're delegates, Madam President, but
Yeah.
it
So if
may be the
you're,
first time at the meeting.
yes, so if you're first-time delegates, you could also signify, and maybe you're just a guest. That's always awesome. I see Amajit hand up again. Amajit?
Yes, I'm here for the first time. That's all. Sorry, I just raised my hand because you asked
And
me.
your union, Amajit?
Sorry, Unite Chair Local 75, the Hospitality Workers Union.
Thank you. And then I see David Ricci.
Hi there, David Ricci. I'm the city councilor candidate for Don Valley West, Ward 15.
Okay. Welcome. Any other hand? Okay. You can lower your hand, David. So so far, I think we have just the two. I hope I didn't miss anyone else. But again, David and Amajit, I know you're someone around for quite some time. I've been off for a while, but again, welcome. And David, welcome to the House of Labor. And I hope you enjoy and have a lot of takeaway from tonight. So I also want to start off by talking a little bit about, as we are celebrating our 150th years that we've been marching on the streets. And one thing that it also signified for us through the victories and the struggles as we march, and that's where we take out some of those moments that we take the street for. But again, just to recognize the time that we are in right now as we take on this fight. We take on this fight, whether it's in our own workplace or in the community. I want to open that up just to say to you again that we are around the corner. The Labor Day is around the corner for us. And just to encourage all of us to come out and to show our force. Yes, the street is where it's open. It's our street. We, as we always say, we own the street and we take it out and be together with each other, recognizing the fight that we are facing right now when it comes to privatization of healthcare and also the fight in education. Ironic, when just before COVID struck, the education record was already fighting, and here we are again. That didn't stop. It's just paused for a bit and pick up back the pace from there as well. So we need to show the Ford's government that even with a second mandate the second mandate that working people in this city and region, that we have stood 150 years. 150 years. This is not new to us. And we'll stand another 150 years together strong, in spite of all that's happening with the proposal by Ford's government to privatize part of our healthcare, despite the education contract which ended last night midnight with Stephen Lecce proposing 1.25 and 2% increase, while this inflation is also at a high of 10%. Despite what is happening to our sisters and brothers who are fighting for a fair contract at TS, Technical Standard and Safety Authority, and are out on strike. I also want to tell each and every one of you this Monday, despite all of this, as I said, this is where we take our fight to the street, and this Monday, to come out and again, it's not a day for you to sit at home. During the last two Labor Day, we were either watching on YouTube or just glued to our TV screen or computer screen. And then last year we had a cavalcade where a lot of people wasn't able to come out for that. But then this year we have the opportunity to come out and take the street again one more time. We are going to take it to show this government, all the elected politicians at every level, what this labor movement is about. We paused during the height of this pandemic, but as I've always said, it's time for us to get up and take what's ours and push back, push as hard as we can as well. We're not going to just take it. And so this is another mark of the 150 years of In the Street to show that we can do it. Others before it have done it, and some of us took that torch. This is the time for us to stand up in these crises and take on this fight, and to show this Ford government that in spite of him squeezing through, we are watching, and we're not just going to watch, but we intend to push back. Come out and reveal what it means to stand up for 150 years. Let us celebrate our gains and show what we will achieve in solidarity, sisters and brothers. So I put this out to you just as we're starting this meeting, about just to reflect on 150 years before and where we're going at this point, and what is it going to take, and to ask ourselves, are we ready to take this on, or what do we need to do to get ourselves organized and ready to go? So I'll give you that piece just to simmer as we move on into our agenda. So next, I believe that the minutes was sent to you early on, and we have 2 minutes that we need to approve. So I'll start off with the first one, July 7th minute, and ask for a motion to accept that minute.
Moved.
Seconded.
Thank you. And then I'll put that one to vote. So the poll is up.
Five seconds left, everyone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And poll.
Okay. Okay, it's closed, it's passed. Thank you. Okay, and if you recall, we have a special meeting August 4th, and I'm going to ask for a motion to accept the August 4th minute.
So moved. Seconded again.
Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed?
5 seconds left, everyone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Madam President, I think we have a pass.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to pass over to Brother Blair for the credential report.
Good evening, brothers, sisters, comrades. For Thursday, September 1st credential report. Move QP Local 1281, 1 delegate. QP Local 2484, 2 delegates. And the Society of United Professional, 7 delegates. I so move. And do I have a seconder?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna vote. There's a poll.
Five seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 4. Madam President, I think we have a pass with 94%.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and I want to ask, and I'm not sure if most of you remember one of our longtime delegate, Brother Bill Divine, always with that newspaper in his hand or under his arm, always at the mic, and he's also he's one of our longtime delegates. I'm not sure of the years, but I know I have been here and many before me that is able to speak on Brother Bill, always coming up, always have some thoughts of how we take on the struggle. And so he's passed, and I want to ask for a moment of silence for our brother. Thank you very much. Okay, so next is a strike report, but before we have Sister JP here, and it's probably going to go into a little bit more of action that we want to call for. So I'm going to ask before she speak, is there anyone else for strike or lockout report? Make sure I'm not missing anyone. Anyone for strike or lockout report?
Don't see any other hands up in any of the screens or in the reaction function.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay. So I just wanna, before JP, I turn it over to JP, I also wanna say a little bit, you know, and I start off by just acknowledging our victories and our struggles and why we need to be on the street. And I'm sure you'll hear from JP some of what I'm describing, but just to say to everyone as well that there's 170 workers that are now taking the street and fighting. And as you hear what's happening with them, to know also that for the labor council, as we are trying to stand together with these workers, to remind everyone that these are workers fighting for their first contract. And just coming to the labor council, the discussion with our board and the connection with the Ontario Federation of Labor and also the CLC, where we are pushing ahead to make sure that this fight that these workers are taking on, and to remind everyone that always remember, as we go out and we do ask for support for these workers, that they are taking on a fight for every single one of us. This is fight that's looming at a lot of our back door, and for us, and how important it is for us to make sure that we are standing in solidarity with these workers as well. And just to say thank you, having APSU coming together with us to share what's happening, and especially in a time when we're getting ready for the Labor Day. And as I mentioned, with the 158 and challenge ahead of it, but I think most important, as we try to figure out what's the best way to support the workers, and with APSU saying, you know what, maybe part of that is not to divert from the route of the parade, but I think most important for us in this time coming together and figuring out actions that we can do to make sure that this employer and this government understand that this labor movement is standing with these workers. But I'll say a little bit more later, and hopefully as we update. And I'm going to turn over to JP to come in to speak to us as well. So as well, I'm going to say welcome, JP. And for most of you, if you don't know her, amazing sister, she's a new president of APSU, and she's here on behalf of the 170 workers across the province who are at the Technical Standard and Safety Authority. They also voted to join APSU Local 546. They have been on strike since July 21st for their first collective agreement. So I just want all of us to welcome JP as she give her strike report. Welcome again, JP.
Thank you so much, Andrea, and thanks everyone for having me in. I put a link in the chat for one of the actions that folks can take. As Andrea said, what we have is 170 TSSA inspectors who've been out on strike since July 21st. These are folks who inspect everything from at the CNE, the propane and fuel lines, the food trucks, and the rides. But they also do, as we start back to school, the boiler and pressure vessels in schools and hospitals. In addition, they inspect everything from bouncy castles to literally the 60 to 70,000 elevators across the province in businesses, residential buildings, government facilities. These are folks that run the gamut. They were outsourced. This used to be a public service, and they were the TSSA was created by Mike Harris back in the 90s as a way to cut corners and costs and create this arm's length organization. So these workers were once OPSU members and have been fighting for the past while to become members yet again. What they're facing is an incredibly aggressive employer who, for a first contract, has tabled a 14-year wage grid where movement up the grid, the initial placement would be at the discretion of the employer, and movement up the grid would be at the discretion. In addition, they're basically punishing these workers for exercising their right to unionize. Not only did the inspectors unionize, they started bargaining in November 2021, but because of the aggressiveness of this employer, the engineers organized simultaneously with the Society for United Professionals. So this is, and they are also in conciliation with the same employer. We have been working to try and get these folks a deal at the table, build pressure. Summer is a heck of a time to try and get the attention of anyone. We've been holding information pickets at the CNE, certainly, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but also at TSSA headquarters, targeting Bonnie Rose, Laura Desjardins, Falcone, RJ Falcone, the folks who are responsible for a lot of the problems that these inspectors are having at the table. It's an absolute refusal to bargain. It's a violation of the fundamental principles of the right to unionize. We're also starting really ramping up this week with, thanks to the OFL and TYLC, a campaign to put the pressure on the government. Spent most of the evening earlier trying to talk to folks, the conciliator, et cetera, to really put the screws to the employer, because the ball is in their court at this point. They're refusing to come back to the table. They're refusing to negotiate in good faith. Around the CNE, OPSU will be participating in the Toronto and York region Labor Day parade. Certainly, we will not be crossing into the CNE. And the reason for that is twofold. The CNE has been scabbing these inspectors' work from the get-go. So they have been doing their own self-inspection regime. So they've been leaving our workers hanging. So they've hired 13 of their own inspectors, as well as allowed managers from the TSSA to come in and ostensibly do these inspections. This is a huge huge safety concern. And that is the other reason that we are not crossing into the CNE. What I'm deeply concerned about, and as we all know, the history of workers' rights is one that is not about rights being granted at the grace of an employer or the government, but is one that is built on the bodies of workers who have had to be injured or killed in their workplaces and their work sites in order to achieve the basic respect, value, and understanding of what we do. What I'm worried about, frankly, at the CNE is something going awry as a result of the self-inspections. So on a basic principle of there's scabbed work going on, and I'm really worried about the children of labor in the CNE. That's the reason we're not going in. And I want to say thank you to so many of our allies in labor who have also indicated the same thing. So OPSU won't be crossing. We'll be holding a solidarity barbecue back at our Wellesley regional office after the parade. And I need to be very clear. This is one of thousands of job sites across Ontario that these inspectors are part of. So the CNE is only one of literally thousands of sites that they inspect. Currently, the TSSA is attempting to do all of this work with managers. We're hearing stories that they're billing ahead, that they're billing for inspections that might not be happening. We have a seniors home in London where the elevator is broken down and they can't be inspected. And so there are people that are trapped in their apartments. This is Walkerton waiting to happen again. We've already seen a propane explosion. We've already seen the fire at Wonderland, the teenagers thrown from the ride at the Campbellford Fair. We've been seeing the elevator breakdowns. And these are the workers who are standing strong in the face of it and started really feeling, I have to say, we talked to them earlier tonight. They are thrilled to be part of the Labor Day parade. They're thrilled with the petition that TYLC has pulled together and that the NDP is going to put it out in the legislature. And they are absolutely deeply touched by the support they're seeing from labor, in particular as it's escalating this week. And just as a final aspect, I have to say there's a pay equity issue in this as well. There are 3 female inspectors, 3 women, they self-identify as women, who are paid $30,000 a year less than the male inspectors that they work with. And that is because of the way in which this employer has entrenched inequity in the pay assignments. So this is, and I agree picket lines mean do not cross. And I also know that we are doing the right thing in demonstrating solidarity across this labor movement and making sure that we are able to stand together, stand strong, and do what we do best, which is to support each other and support the workers where they are. So the action that I had put in there is a way in which you can send a direct email to Doug Ford. I'll also see if I can copy and paste in Toronto, York Region Labor Council has also taken a mass text action campaign that's about to go out. And has set up a rally for tomorrow at the TSSA headquarters. I think, Andrea, that's at 11, right? Or Susan? Yep. I understand that Scabby the Rat, who is my maybe personal favorite, is labor mascot, is making an appearance. And we're really going to try and, hit these folks where they hurt, this employer where they hurt. So thank you, Susan, for putting that in there. Is there anything I missed? Andrea, Susan, Donna, I know you're here too. I just want to make sure.
Yes. Yeah. I think you cover a lot of it. And I think most important, as I mentioned, this is not just 170 workers fight. This is, everyone need to remember, and as I opened just now around election that just wrap up, and people wonder what next. This is what's next. This is about when we fought for so long for employment standard and labor law, and seeing where the rights of these workers, where employer are abusing them simply because the Ford government snatch away rights for first agreement, a first contract to where you could settle that through arbitration, leaving these workers in limbo. And again, it sends that message that workers have no right to organize into a union. And if you do organize somewhere else, that's what will happen if we're not standing up together. So I'm going to ask again, as JP mentioned about some of the actions that we're taking. Labor Day, a lot of us will be on the street, and I would strongly encourage others that you have that's not planning to do anything or go anywhere to participate in some of these actions that just take a minute. One, the petition for any union leader that's here that having multiple location celebration of Labor Day, maybe it's in Toronto and Peel or Whitby or anywhere else, if it's even a picnic. We are going to encourage you to take the petition with you and have your members filling up those petitions. I'm sure APSU will figure out how we could get those with the rest of the pile to the NDP critics. And also tonight, we will also do a quick run through with the phones app and the texting that we're hoping will send thousands of messages of not just labor or not just members, but voters to these politicians that we're standing up. Don't look away. It's something that needs to happen. It's something that you need to share with others that they're participating in it. So that's another way of, as you take the street, some unions already expressed, as JP said, marching on the street for these reasons. And these workers are one of those main reasons why we march. And coming out to march and taking action and your members taking action to show that, yes, we are together. And it's not about just marching on that day, but here are immediate things that need to do. The rally that JP announced for tomorrow, I know we just did that short, but I always say, in this labor movement, we're always juggling different things. And these fights just gonna come to our back door immediately, and we have to figure how do we do more than one? And this is one of them, and we're asking if you are free, or if you can make the time, come out to 345 Collinsview Drive, that's up in Etobicoke, 11 a.m. Bring your flags with you. Also share this invitation with others that they can come out. These workers need to see the support, and more so, this government need to see that labor is not sleeping. And this is how we are going to stand up and support each other. We want to continue this until they get a fair contract, not just a contract to go away, a fair contract that is right for them, especially in a time like this. They shouldn't have to just give up or roll over. We need to say this is our fight and take it that way. So I will also I'll move back so JP can wrap up, and then probably ask Jennifer or Susan just to explain a little bit on the phones app that we are asking. If you're here tonight, you could start tonight by doing it or practicing it if you need to take that on to someone else. So JP, I'll turn it back over to you if you have anything else to
No,
report.
thank you, Andrea. That's you've summed it up really well. And I think that it is true that these workers do stand on the front lines of a fight that touches us all, and they're doing it for exactly the right reasons. They're doing it to stand up to a bad boss who is fighting unionization tooth and nail. We're laying this at the feet of Doug Ford. He has the ability to step in and end this thing easily by directing the TSSA back to the table to bargain a fair deal. These are fights that should be solved at the bargaining table with free and fair collective bargaining, and this is exactly what's not happening. So, anybody who can head to the rally, circulate the petitions, participate in these phones apps. The government is starting to feel this pressure. We're starting to hear that message loudly and clearly. And so now is the time to put our foot on the gas. So I appreciate your time tonight and look forward to seeing you either tomorrow at the rally or at Labor Day on Monday. And to be clear, there is not a picket line at the CNE on Labor Day. However, there is scab labor going on, and the safety concern is those are the two things that we're flagging for folks. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. Solidarity to these workers. This is we reached out to each other last year, and I think our Labor Day slogan last year, where we promised each other that we'll rise up. But in that same sense, as we're rising up, we recognize that there will be employer who already went to that think tank to figure out ways how to continue to rob workers. And this is one of them, as they come forward, and hoping that everyone will say, you know what, this is a part of the pandemic. The pandemic is not what we're fighting right now. We're fighting those 1% who will continue to take and take and take, and this is an excuse. And this is our moment where we continue to question what's happening, and we're out of energy, we're angry, we're everything. But what we do know, if we're not stepping up and we're waking up and pushing each other, then we won't get too further. So it's a lot of us, and definitely we can come together and take this fight on. 170, they're not small. It's a message. If they lose this fight, then all of us lose. So let's come together and do that. Labor Day, when you march, ask yourself, when you come to this, you take the street, why are you there? Labor Day, when you march, ask yourself if this is the first fight that the others before you, if the others before you take on fight like this, or is this a first time? It's not. But all we do know that there's all our gains are going backward, and we have to do something about it. So these workers need us, and I think if you're at whether you're private sector or public sector, your employer is watching this. Labor Day is their day that they use us. They watch us to see who's coming out, who's not there. Yes, take the street and show them that you're there because you're proud of the gains, but all the gains you have is under attack, and your future and for the next generation, and that's why you're marching. So I'm gonna ask maybe Jennifer, if you will demonstrate the phones app. So as I mentioned before, some of the actions that we want to take, and starting tonight with the phones app, and later as you go to when you get to Labor Day, what we're asking each Labor Day coordinator to do, and that might be with the help of their someone else from their union. And we don't want you to take this lightly. These are actions that we're asking for. On Labor Day, before anyone start marching, when they're in their section, someone will come around from your union, maybe the coordinator or whoever else that they split this up with the petition. I think we probably have a copy of that, the petition, and thanks to the OFL for working with us, and also the CLC for working with us to get these things ready for the day. But they'll come up with this petition for you to sign, and once it's done, as you march to the CNE, we'll have some of the APSU members at the reviewing stand ready, and you'll hand over that stack of signatures to them. We are told that some of our friendly politicians will be there. Jamie West will be there, maybe Peter Tobin, Jagmeet Singh, I believe, if nothing changed. But what we want to do, each contingent, as you get to the reviewing stand, you already have all those signatures ready to hand over, and then they're able to hand them over to one of those NDP critics. That's one. And so you are able to say that you're doing your part into this. That's your signature is a vote. You're a voter. The second thing, we're going to ask for people to do the text message. That's an immediate action that's going to happen as you take out your phone and you do that. And those are some of the things that we want to try tonight. And it's not just tests, it's real to put that through. So remember, those are two of those assignments on Labor Day that you're going to do. The more people that's out, if we have 25,000, that's 25,000 messages that will go immediately to these politicians to show that we are not backing down, we are standing up. So Jennifer, are you able to demonstrate the phones app?
So raise your hand, everybody, physically or your Zoom hand, if you've ever done a phones app before. I just want to get a sense of how many people have done this, whether we need to go through the motions or whether folks say, nope, I'm a pro at this. Okay, so for those of you who have never done a phones app before, the fun thing about phones app is that you do it together. So usually people turn on their screens and you pick up your phone number, whether that's a landline, whether that's your cell phone, you pick up the cell phone, and the encouraging and energizing thing is you see everybody do it together with you. And maybe we can even get pictures of us doing it together and post it on social media or something, you know, to make the hype. I'm going to share the script with you. Can everybody see my screen? Okay, so this is a phone app for our delegates meeting. If I could just move to the next screen. This is how it works. We basically, oh, sorry, go back. My computer's lost it on me. Okay, so this is how it works. We call them together. We call the employer, we call management, and after maybe 5-10 minutes, we find that the phone line is jammed. So what do? We naturally progress to emails. If you can do both at the same time and multitask, that's even better. And we're going to ask them to bargain for a fair first contract. This is the script. You say, hi, whoever you're calling. My name is, Jennifer. I'm deeply concerned about public safety since you forced frontline safety inspectors out on strike. All they want is a fair first contract, and your union busting behavior is simply unacceptable. You're putting 170 workers and their families out. Get back to the table and end the strike now. And you can, adapt, improvise, make it glossier language if you like, more fun. So we have the Bonnie Rose, who's the CEO of TSSA, that we want you to call. The number's there, the email's there if the voicemail is jammed. Laura, who's the VP of HR. We have RJ, who is also chair of the board. We also have Premier Doug Ford, Minister of Labor Monty McNaughton, and the Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery, who's actually in charge of TSSA, Khalid Rashid. And so all those numbers and emails are there for you. We're going to tell them that public safety is a provincial responsibility. And this is the script with all the numbers and emails there for you. So I think I'm going to time this on how long do you think we need to call 6 people? 6 minutes?
Sure.
I'll do 7, and hopefully everybody can get all through. Some people start at the bottom, some people start at the top, some people start in the middle, because I think the emails and the phone's messages will jam very soon. And be muted, but keep on so everyone see each other doing this together. And maybe somebody can scroll through the pages and take some screenshots for the fun. So let's start our phone zap, and I'm going to set a timer up. I'll see you guys in 7 minutes, and we'll do it. Everybody, staff, executive board members, delegates, guests, we're all going to do this together. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Miles Magner, and I'm calling because I am a professional.
Okay, I just muted Miles, but that's awesome. So that was 7 minutes, and I think we hit a lot of numbers because mailboxes were full so fast. So if anybody wants this Canva presentation, it is, I can share it, and you can do this exact same thing at your next general membership meeting, at your next executive board meeting, whenever. I'll put the link in the chat. I'm going to change the number for Ford's constituency office. I just got it. So thank you, Brian. I see your comment in the chat. And yeah, so we'll keep doing this and keep putting the pressure towards TSSA management and the premier and all these goons that have been, you know, put on as ministers. And hopefully the strike will end soon. Madam President, back to you, because I think the phones app is ending.
I think you're muted.
I'm back to it again. Jane, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know that when the phone is full, you can still text a message. Okay. So that's what I did. If the phone was full, I texted the message to them.
Okay.
Great strategy.
Good to know. Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. So this is our first action, and for anyone that's done it for the first time, hopefully you enjoy it and be ready to get others to send those messages as well. And as Jane said, you can do text as well, and then we have the option of email to add to that. As I mentioned, for Labor Day, we want to really get this going really strong, like the signatures that with the backup there. It's very important. If people phone in and it's getting jammed, then we have other ways of getting through to them. And Susan, I don't know if I missed anything that need to add into this before we move on to just the route.
No, I think we're good. We put in there, JP did, as well as we added the text action of texting the word safety to 55255, which will also send an email to Doug Ford and the provincial government. And that's going to be part of the Labor Day action as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess we'll see people at University and Queen or anywhere along that stretch on Labor Day morning to head down past the reviewing stand and hand those petitions into the OPSU workers.
Yes, yeah. So, you know, just to give a hand signal if you think we're on the right track with taking on this fight in support or solidarity fight, you know, show your hands if you think this is the right track for it. After Labor Day, we still have to do this, right? This is not a one-off action, we got to continue putting the pressure to show that, yep, almost 3 years we've been just back and forth, lingering. There's few fight that we took on, but more than ever, we are ready and we're stronger and we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Whatever it takes, then we gotta do it, right? Okay, so we still have people ask the question, if some of them are still first time or not, just to let you know, if you've been on the route all the time, then that's great. But for the Labor Day, that the parade route, it's going to be as the norm along Queen Street West Then from University heading west onto Queen West to Dufferin, then you turn south and past the reviewing stand that's before the CNE grounds at the Dufferin Gate. So again, make sure you look for APSU members when you get to the reviewing stand. The next thing I'll ask of you, and maybe I did already, but it's just warm the heart if you are able to just make a sign. You don't have to have any professional. Put love into it. Bring your own placards with the love into it. That's solidarity support for these members, and just to hold it up and show that you're there and who's there, which union, and your own bringing support to these members. So again, thank you very much. Just for, and JP, thank you for coming. We should continue this, and we'll give update as we hear more and as we plan more action. I'm sure after Labor Day, if nothing changed, we are going to call back on you again for another action that need to happen, whether unions are adopting part of it, or if we have to go down to 400 university to visit, to send a message off to Monty, then we're going to do it, right? So we're ready to go. Okay. And we're saying that again, it's lobbying our politician, and we know that there's another election that's coming around the corner, and we need to get ourselves organized for that. Again, like we know what happened, we learn our lesson from the provincial election, and we really don't want to tell the same story again, trying to figure out what happened. We need to know if we were ready, who are we mobilizing, and getting ready for that next round of election to fight for our own assets in the city. So I'm going to pass over to for election planning committee that participate in a lot of this, passing it over to Brandon to take us through. But again, just to let you know, for tonight, we are more focusing for this election and the candidates, it's not included the trustee. That's going to be for another meeting a special meeting that we have. So it's no trustee is in this one. So I'll pass over to our chair from the EPC, Brandon.
Okay, thank you, Andrea, or Madam President, I should say. Brandon Haynes, Local 4948, Toronto Public Library Workers. First thing I just want to say is I hope everybody had a bit of time over the summer. It seems like it's been a very busy summer, but hopefully we've all had a chance to rest up and reflect and get ready for the next fights that we're all facing in the future. So I'm here on behalf of the Election Planning Committee. As Andrea mentioned, I'm the chair of the committee, and we've completed our final round of endorsement recommendations. So tonight you'll hear from different EPC members about several different candidates for city councillor in the upcoming municipal election. And I first want to thank the EPC, and I will say as well, goes without saying, but Labor Council staff as well, who really supported the committee for all of the hard work that we've done, attending hours of interviews as well as follow-up discussions. And I want to thank all of the committee members for all of their efforts to learn as much as possible about each candidate and to make the best recommendation to bring forward for workers and for delegates tonight and other meetings as well. So as I said, throughout the summer, the EPC interviewed the following, or I will say that the following candidates who had requested consideration for endorsement. And I'll just go through that ward by ward. So for Ward 1, Etobicoke North, we heard from Dave Narang and Charles Ozude. In Ward 11, University Rosedale, we heard from Norm DiPasquale, Diana Yun, and Robin Buxton Potts. In Ward 15, Don Valley West, we heard from David Ritchie. In Ward 16, Don Valley East, we heard from Stephen Sizek. Ward 19, Beaches East York, we heard from Brad Bradford and Jenny Warden. And in Ward 23, Scarborough North, we heard from Jamal Myers. And finally, Ward 25, Scarborough Rouge Park, we heard from Jennifer McKelvey, who is an incumbent councillor. So before we get to the endorsements, I'm going to turn it over to different members of the committee to talk a little bit about the work that we've done in considering endorsing these candidates. And the first person that I have to turn it over to is Brother Aleem, and he's going to report back on the Jennifer McKelvey portion. So over to you, Aleem.
So good evening, all. I just want to thank Brandon. Honestly, it was a lot of work. We put in a lot of time, a lot of resources, and I want to thank everybody that took part in it, from our EPC to our e-board, and even our delegates. This is a process that I really enjoy, and it's very important that we go through it. At our special August meeting, the council moved to send the Jennifer McKelvey endorsement back to the executive board and the EPC for further consideration. As part of our follow-up, a small committee met with Councillor McKelvey to get clarification on some of the issues raised by the delegates. I was part of that group, along with my ATU 113 president, Marvin Alford. We also had Ken Webb from Toronto Firefighters, Hendrik and President Andrea Babington representing e-board, and also our EPC chair, Brandon, who you just heard from in attendance. It was a productive discussion and constructive opportunity for my local, as well as other members of our labor community, to develop a relationship with a councillor who will likely be returning after this election. While there remains areas we have not found alignment with, we walked away feeling better than that we had found someone who would listen and who could be a friend and a supporter on some of the same issues that we share in terms of environment, social justice. So I'll leave it with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Aleem. So I think at this time, the committee has made the following recommendations, which have been accepted already by the Executive Board for Labor Council. So again, the Election Planning Committee is recommending the following endorsements for City Councillor. For Ward 1, we recommend Charles Uzude, and that's for Etobicoke North. For Ward 11, the recommendation is to endorse Norm DiPasquale for University Rosedale. For Ward 15, Don Valley West, we recommend to endorse David Ricci. And for Ward 16, Don Valley East, we recommend to endorse Stephen Cizik. I'm trying to go slow. I hope I'm not rushing too much. Ward 19, Beaches East York. The recommendation is not to endorse any candidate in that ward. And finally, for Ward 23, Scarborough North, we recommend to endorse Jamal Myers. So we ask that these endorsements be voted on together as a package, but obviously before getting to the vote, each endorsement will be explained and introduced by one of my colleagues on the Election Planning Committee. And so now I will turn it over to Das to talk about the first endorsement recommendation.
Thank you, Brandon. My name is Sarakidas John. I am from QP Local 79. I am happy to bring for the endorsement of Charles Osude in Ward 1, Etobicoke North. Etobicoke North is an open race, as the previous councillor, Michael Ford, was elected as MPP in York Southwestern this spring. Past Ward 2 councillor Vincent Crisanti, a Ford-friendly conservative, is running. After rigorous interviews with 2 candidates, the EPC found Charles Osude to be the progressive candidate with the strongest vision and in the best position to build for the future. Charles is a health researcher who has actively applied the social determinants of health to his activism in the Black community and in his ward in particular. The social determinants of health theory looks at social factors like race, economic status, geography, education, and migration status as contributing conditions to health. We found that just how a labor movement looks at the whole worker, Charles had a high-level understanding of what makes an equitable livable city. Charles has demonstrated community leadership in Etobicoke North, where he has been a resident since he immigrated to Canada 12 years ago. He worked to bring COVID vaccines to the community. He also understands how to connect with community in the places that matter to them. For instance, raising awareness of HIV/AIDS prevention in barbershops. The election planning committee found Charles to be thoughtful, articulate, progressive, and hungry for real change. We are excited to put his name forward for Ward 1, an area of the city that needs progressive vision. Honorable mention goes to Dave Narang, a longtime local resident and ACTA member who interviewed well and demonstrated a passion and drive for spreading a progressive message in Etobicoke North. Thank you, and I now pass on to my other colleague, Emma.
So we are recommending to endorse Norm DePasquale for University Rosedale. University Rosedale is a vacant seat as our friend Mike Layton has decided not to run again this year. It is key that we maintain this seat with a progressive and labor-friendly councillor as outlined in our municipal action plan. Norm DePasquale is a current TCDSB trustee and has a long history of progressive organizing in Toronto. He is known for his leadership of the No Jets TO campaign and has been a waterfront defender organizing communities from Etobicoke to Scarborough for the greater environmental and social good of the city. Norm can stand on his strong record of defending LGBTQ2 students and school communities at the Catholic Board and beyond. Special mention goes to Diana Yoon, who is a QP 3903 member and a delegate to this Labour Council. Diana has made the difficult decision to withdraw from the race, although her name will remain on the ballot. She and her team have pivoted to an issue-based campaign calling for candidates to keep developer money out of Toronto elections. The EPC valued her interest in running, and this Labour Council will take an ongoing interest in her leadership and potential future candidacy.
Okay, and I believe now we will turn it over to Emerjit to talk about Don Valley West.
Sure, thanks, Brandon. So the EPC is recommending David Ricci in Don Valley West, as Brandon said, Ward 15. So David is a member of QP 4400, who is also endorsing him, and he's a longtime custodian at Eglinton Public School. David Ricci's campaign focuses on building affordable housing to meet the growing demands. He advocates for better support for those suffering mental illness and addiction, as well as those experiencing housing instability. To keep our city moving and stimulate increased ridership, David plans to restore transit to full capacity and provide safer, more reliable service to its customers. With more people relying on green space for well-being and recreation, David will ensure that city parks are clean with fully functioning washrooms, water fountains, and splash pads, which has been a huge issue. David brings a perspective that is often missing from municipal governance, in that he's a person who has lived experience with addictions, mental illness, and homelessness. He uses his more stable position in life now to advocate for others who are less fortunate and to change hearts and minds in his community. And David is running against a conservative incumbent, City Councillor Jay Robinson.
Okay, thank you, Emerjit, and we'll wait a few seconds to load up the next screen, but I will pass it over to Jeff Irons now.
Thank you, brother. Your EPC would like you to endorse Stephen Sizak for Don Valley East. This Ward 16 has been previously held by Denzel Min Wong for many years, but he is not running this term. Previous City Councillor John Burnside is running here. However, it would be key to claim this seat for a progressive, labor-friendly candidate after years of conservative. Stephen is a resident who has been working locally to support community-focused projects. As the president of the Don Mills Residents Association, he pushed against the sneaky tactics of Denzel Min Wong and fought for a much-needed community center and all the developments going on. Stephen understands that a happy, healthy, respected workers are the key to a livable city. Thank you.
Thank you, and I will now pass it on to Aline for the last recommendation.
So once again, our endorsement is for Jamal Myers in Ward 23, sorry, Scarborough North. So Ward 23 is currently held by conservative councillor Cynthia Lai, who is running for re-election. Cynthia is a one-term councillor who has been largely absent in her community and has not demonstrated any leadership on council. This ward has shown the lowest voter turnout in the city. Jamal has deep roots in Scarborough and is proud of his community. He is an internationally educated lawyer and professional. Since returning to Scarborough 5 years ago, he has been active on many issues near and dear to our hearts, including advocating for transit improvements with TTC riders and supporting community benefit agreements. Though his job as a lawyer keeps him very busy during the day, he finds time to volunteer with activists and local community organizations. Jamal comes from a union family and got his feet wet in the working world as a summer student working shoulder to shoulder with ATU members. He cites as his first job experience and being fundamental to his appreciation for unions. Jamal has been working hard on his campaign, having filled on day one of nominations. He and his team are fundraising, knocking on doors, setting up an office. In short, he is in it to win it. And that is our endorsement for Jamal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lehman. I will make a request, but I do want to thank again, especially Skylar and all of the Labor Council staff, Susan, Jennifer, and I hate naming people because I leave people out, but there were many hours of work that went into supporting the work of our election planning committee. So I just want to acknowledge all of their efforts and thank them. And at this time, Madam President, we ask that these endorsements be voted on together as a package.
Thank you. Okay, so I will ask for is that something you're writing? It's candidate site. Okay, somebody putting that up. Thank you. So can I have a motion to accept the list of candidates that we just heard of to be endorsed? Justin? Thank you.
I so move. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you need a seconder, Andrea?
Seconder?
Yeah, I
Yes.
can second. It's Brandon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And so the poll is up.
Five seconds left, brothers and sisters. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. End poll. Madam President, we have a pass with 90%.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you,
Thank you, Andrew.
EPC team. Okay. All right, so with all this work that's happening, we can't forget Skylar Maharaj. She's also our campaign organizer right now and doing a fabulous job. And I'm gonna turn it over to Skylar again to talk to us a little bit more and about the work that need to get done and the municipal program and campaign. Skylar, I'll pass over to you now.
Thanks, Andrea. And just before I talk about that, I just would like to quickly share my screen and show all of our endorsements because I think folks would like to see the full list now. So I'll go a little bit quicker. Some of them you've seen. So Charles Azude, Amber Morley in Ward 3, Gord Perks in Ward 4, Chiara Padovani, Ward 5, Anthony Peruzza, Ward 7, Alejandro Bravo, Ward 9, Asma Malik, Ward 10, Chris Moyes, Ward 13. I think these are out of order, I just realized. Paula Fletcher, Ward 14, Norm DePasquale, Ward 11, David Ricci, Ward 15, Stephen Sizek, Ward 16, Shelley Carroll, Ward 17, and Jamal Myers, Ward 23. So congratulations, delegates, on selecting your endorsees for the 2022 election cycle. I'll stop my share there.
Okay.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about where we're at with our municipal program and really what our focus is for now until October 24th. So I just wanted to say really that I think we know what the stakes are here. The stakes are about having a livable city. It means being able to work and live here. It means having the long view on climate and having a city that's prepared for multiple climate events that are happening every year. It means accessible and affordable public transit that's built to last and that's built for a growing city. I think it also really very much means that we have not only counselors, but also school board trustees who are prepared to put up the fights that are needed to gain, attention to issues and funding from other orders of government, in particular our province, which is doing its best to put the squeeze onto our municipal governments. And so given that, and I think you will see if you don't yet know more about these candidates than just the names that we've announced, that our EPC really made it a point to pick people who are going to be activists and not just community representatives or community advocates. These are people that need to understand that these issues affect all workers, all people who live in the city, regardless of status, regardless of whether they're voters, regardless of age. And I think that is kind of the good news story here, is that we have these people. And so that's what we're asking of our candidates, but there's an ask here for us as well. And there's stuff that we can do together to make sure that this happens, and make sure that the people that we've endorsed actually get elected. And this is, I'm kind of glancing over my shoulder because I'm looking at really what our statement is tonight. So I'm borrowing from here, but together we have a voice and we can articulate this agenda for a livable city for workers. Together, we can make a point to support these labor endorsed candidates and making sure that we're knocking on doors, that we're having not just our dinner table conversations, but we're making sure that our friends and colleagues and family members get out to vote. Together, we can hold these people accountable and make sure that we're pushing them to do that little bit extra that they need to do, whether it's comfortable or not, to do the right thing. And so I think with what are we at, like 7.5 weeks left until election day? That's not a lot of time in election time. I think we need to be asking ourselves, what can we do on an individual basis through our locals and together in order to make sure that we can have a successful labor-friendly election and labor-friendly slate of candidates that are going to be out there representing us. And that's all I wanted to say about that. So I'll turn it back to Madam President. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Skylar. And as we are, I would say, with your report and raising some good points here, that's also on our statement. I hope everyone get a chance to read the statement that we circulate earlier this evening. But just to say, you are on the right track, and these are very important. And I think we need to start thinking through as we get ready for October. What exactly, as I said, what are we voting for, and reason why we need to go and vote, and sorry. and I'm gonna, and I think maybe it's the right time to open up for discussion if anyone wanna to speak on the statement that's in front of us. Electing to build a livable city together. If anyone want to speak on that statement, please signify. Brandon?
Yeah, sorry, I
see
hope
your
I'm not
hand.
talking too much. Sorry, Brendan Haynes, you already heard from me, Local 4948, library workers. I just want to speak very briefly to say that this upcoming election seems to be a very interesting one that we all need to put all of our efforts into getting involved in for many reasons, partly because of the changes going on downtown and various councillors in other areas moving away, and also because of the upcoming strong mayor powers that may be used by John Tory. And so I think we do have to, treat this election like our jobs depend on it, which is the message we send to library workers here in Toronto, because we literally, work for the city through the library board, and every aspect of our working lives and our personal lives has to do with who's elected and who's in these positions of power. And we need to elect progressive candidates that will fight for supporting our communities rather than making cuts. So I just wanted to say that very briefly.
Thank you. Any other speaker? Okay.
I don't see any further hands up. I can just scroll through to see if anybody physically has their hand up. And I don't see any further comments or questions.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And we are going to ask to vote on the statement, but I'm not sure if you got a chance to go through all of it, but just to read the executive board recommendation and part of that, just to add to what Skylar had there, where the executive board recommend that Labor Council call on affiliates to share endorsement and encourage your members to vote for Labor endorsed candidates. Call on affiliates and the Labor Council Municipal Election Planning Committee to support Labor endorsed candidates by ensuring they are known by our members and organizing ourselves to drop leaflets, erect signs, knock on doors, or make phone calls. Urge each one of us to mobilize workers to get out their votes for Labor endorsed candidates on and before Election Day, October 24th. Demand that Doug Ford's Conservative drop their plans to give strong mayor powers to Toronto and Ottawa's mayor. Demand that the Conservative drop their destructive education and health policy at the provincial level. Therefore, I'm going to ask for us, the poll to vote on this statement.
Do we need a motion and a seconder, or I'm sorry, do we have that
please.
already?
That, yeah. Could I have a seconder on this before we vote? Okay, thank you.
Five seconds left, sisters and brothers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and poll.
Okay. Thank you, Cindy. All right, so as we're talking about election, and we can't leave conversation around climate change. We have to make sure that this is part of our agenda, and we have a very important action that's coming up for September 23rd. And this important event is happening, it's an in-person event, and we really want everyone coming out to participate in a very big way. Like the last few months, as we have different action, I think we do walk away trying to figure out whether labor is at that action, or then whether it's young people at the other action. And this one, I think it's very important that we are really coming together in a big way for it. Young people are helping to lead the fight for climate justice, and the labor movement is pleased to be able to play a big role in that as well. So tonight we have a labor leader and also youth to talk to us. And before we go any further, I'm going to also invite Sister Carolyn Egan to speak on the Friday for Future and the global strike on September 23rd. And then I'll ask Miles, hoping you're here still, Miles Magner, to introduce our youth leader. So I'm going to turn over to Sister Carolyn Egan, and then Miles, if you could introduce the next speaker.
Thanks very much, Andrea. And I just want to say that I've been part of a labor committee that has been helping to organize the Fridays for Future event coming up on September 23rd. And Lucy will speak more in detail about what the event is all about and what's motivated them to be part of this global movement. But what I want to start by saying, you know, I was recently at a convention in the United States, my union, the United Steelworkers, in Las Vegas. First time I was ever in 109-degree Fahrenheit temperature. And it was hot. But what was beyond that is when some of us went out to see the Hoover Dam, which is an incredible model of what working class people can create and do, and what that has done to irrigation and providing water to the southwest of the United States. The Colorado River is a trickle of what it used to be. Lake Mead, it's there, but it's nowhere in the breadth and the depth that used to be. And you can look at Pakistan, and what is it, 1/3 to 1/2 of the nation is right now flooded underwater. You can look at the Rhine River, which has been such a transportation network really for the barges that bring so many products, and they can't do it. They're 1/5 full, those that are trying to go through and continue the supply chain for people. And it just tells us what's happening. We're all aware of it. But it's becoming clearer and clearer that we have to be in a process of moving off fossil fuels. And I think that the part that labor has to play is so important. We cannot be left behind. So many of our people in our union and so many other unions work in fossil fuel and resource-based industries, and just transition, the fact that they have to be able to transition from these jobs as they are phased out into good union jobs. The jobs that we and our forebears have fought for. And I think that we have to be at the table. We have to fight for a green industrial strategy. My union, certainly at our convention, we're talking about that because we know that has to be. We have to look at the local products that have to be produced, the steel that has to be involved, the glass that has to be involved, the plastics that have to be involved, all that has to be involved. And these have to be green industries that are developed, again, for good union jobs. And I think that we have an opportunity to show this event that is being led by students, by young people, in support of Indigenous struggles that are going on across this country, that we have to show that labor is there front and center. We cannot afford to allow ourselves, our members, to be out of the discussion, off the table, out of the equation, or our corporate leaders, our government leaders will walk right over us, as they have so many times, or have tried to do so many times in the past. So I just want to say we have to get people out. I know QP 79 is releasing people to come out for that. It's on a Friday. On that September 23rd death, my union, United Steelworkers, is doing the same. We have to have a strong union contingent, and the committee that I've been a part of, and others on this call, at this meeting tonight, have been involved in organizing. We're going to have a feeder rally at 12:30 at 25 Cecil at the United Steelworkers Hall. We urge all of your unions, please, to have representatives there, so we have a strong union contingent, and make it clear that labor is part and parcel of the struggle, and our agenda has to be right front and center in the struggle for climate change, so our workers, working class in this country, as well as youth, Indigenous peoples, and all who are being affected will have a brighter future than it appears right now. So thank you very much, and I'll hand it over to Miles to introduce Lucy. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Great, thanks very much, Carolyn. Like Carolyn, I've been working with a number of labor activists together with Fridays for Future Toronto, who are leading and have called this global climate strike. And we're really pleased to have Lucy Duncan here with us to to speak to us a little bit about the issues underlying the climate strike and why this is such an important event, not just for labor, but also for students, for young workers, and for activists who are mobilizing for this as well. So perhaps I can hand it over to Lucy. Lucy is, as I say, with Fridays for Future and is one of the lead organizers on this event. So thanks very much, Lucy.
Hello, thank you so much, Miles, and thank you everybody for having me here. My name is Lucy. I'm 16 and I'm a youth organizer with Fridays for Future Toronto. So we're an entirely youth-led grassroots organization and we're working towards climate justice, which is one of our main key components. And when we say climate justice, what it means is that we focus not only on like the scientific aspects of climate change, but also on the way that it intersects with all these different social justice issues like racial justice and feminism. And of course, like Carolyn touched on, the labor movement. We're also part of the Global Fridays for Future Climate Strike movement, which was started back in 2018. So I'm super happy to talk to you all today and tell you about our upcoming global climate strike, which you can see in the chat is happening September 23rd at 2 p.m. at Queen's Park. And with this strike, we're really aiming to put climate justice back onto the public agenda. We're having a really big rally and a march to make sure that politicians and companies can't ignore us and our messaging. The theme for the strike is people over profit, so we're really calling on all levels of government and corporations to make sure that they're putting human life and well-being over just continuing to maximize their profits. Because we've seen, especially throughout the pandemic, the ways that companies will continue to do everything they can to keep profiting. Meanwhile, everyone else is being hit by inflation, by heat waves, by massive natural disasters. Fossil fuel companies are just continuing to make millions of dollars. So we really want this strike to be a moment of high energy with really inspiring speakers and massive mobilization, and just a good time for everyone to connect with each other. Back in 2019, we mobilized 50,000 strikers onto the streets of Toronto, and we're aiming to have a similar turnout this year. We have a really exciting lineup of performers and speakers that you might know, including Jinky Davis, who a lot of you might know, as well as Vanessa Gray and Layla Stats. So what we really need for all of you is, if at all possible, to show up and maximize the turnout, as well as share with other folks that are interested in climate justice. We really need to make sure that these issues are getting on the public agenda. And for those of you who may have the means, donating is also super appreciated. So thank you all for having me, and I really hope to see a lot of you there September 23rd for our People Not Profit climate strike.
Thank you very much, Lucy. Okay, so you heard it from Lucy. Make sure you mark that down in your calendar and let us get out there. You know, I mentioned we are moving, but sometimes we are divided, where we have the older folks on one side and the younger folks on the other. And there are times when we come together. And September 23rd, let us turn out each other and get out there and take this on. So thanks for coming, Lucy, and I hope to see you on the 23rd. And also just to let you know as well that there's a second event that's coming up September 27th, which is called Demanding Climate Action Leadership. What's at stake in the Toronto election? Mark that down as well in your calendar. We are encouraging you to participate into both events. They're very important. So if we need to give you more detail on the 27th, please let us know, but I hope that you're able to mark this down as the two very important events that you can commit to. Thanks for coming. Okay, up next for a Labor Community Forum that's coming up October 26th. I'm gonna ask Sister Faduma to give us a report. Sister Faduma is also from Labor Community Services. I'm sure she's no stranger to you. So Faduma will come up and update us. Hi, Faduma.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everybody, and thank you for having me here. So I am a little bit under the weather. My voice might not be very clear. So another very important issue we are facing is racism. So labor community service in collaboration with Labor Council have been working to end racism, and this forum is another attempt again to give strength to a campaign that we were carrying for a while. So the next slide, Jennifer. The next slide, Jennifer. Yeah. So, all of you might remember the Yes It Matters campaign. The Yes It Matters is a committee working to address racism within the union movement. It was established in 2019, and we're addressing racism and discrimination in labor movement. And if you can remember, we had also the Charter of Inclusive Workplace and Communities struck, and many of the unions have endorsed this charter. We put out an engagement plan. Many unions have acted on it, and many others did not act. So this committee has been working and thinking, how can we really put this in the front agenda, as we are seeing a lot of issues are struggling to be on first of agenda. And racism has been dragging, and it won't be ending in my lifetime, but at least we have to do whatever we can do to push us further. So so now the next move is to really see what can we do differently, what we haven't done before, so that we could put this in the agenda of many people, because it's killing. Racism is killing us, climate is killing, and it's something man-made disaster. It's not natural disaster. So together we hope to address it in the future. So the next slide, Jennifer. Yeah, so we have been working on a forum to start actually a campaign of anti-racism campaign. So the forum will be on October 26th, and we are trying to look three major areas. And the difference between this forum and other forum is that what we are thinking is that really put some concrete tool in the hands of the people, so that the people who are impacted by this can fight for themselves. And we have hired three well-known consultants, Giorgio Geronimo, Carol Wall, and Arnold Miners, who are assisting us in putting this forum together with the staff of labor community service. So the three areas, what we are looking is anti-racism transformational change within the collective bargaining process. It's not only the language, but whole the process. How can we really do that? And this process will help us really, work within the union, and also will work between employer-employee racism. But then the next big thing that we are hearing with some research is that most racism happens from member-to-member racism at the workplace or union hall or union conventions. So how can we really address that? So some unions have protocol and others don't have. So we are doing parallel research to this thing. And then can we look into constitutional change as OSSTF District 16 New York region have done? Can we look, is that a higher option? Like that we will engrave this into the constitution. So this will not be something that you ask for or you say, please do that, but it's within your own right as a person of color that this is there in the constitution and you fight for them. So, and the last slide is the last slide, Jennifer. Yeah. So how can you support? So we are asking for fee, sponsors, financial sponsorship, if financial sponsor, and because of the consultant we have hired with three, well-respected leaders in the community, and also, we will. The forum is just the launch of the campaign. The Yes It Matters team will be working on that, moving forward, and and the Yes It Matters has a volunteer from the current union and some who have retired a while, and really I thank them, all of them, to the work they are doing, helping us move forward. So then, if you have any question, you can contact us, info@laborcommunityservice.ca, and we will be sending information about it, as we, move on. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Faduma. Okay. So, if you have any other follow-up question for Faduma, even after the meeting, please feel free to reach out to her at Labor Community Services, And I'm sure even through the Labor Council, we're able to connect you to that. But this is a very important program that they're putting together. A lot of times we talk about some of the challenges ahead, but not necessarily the tools that's in place for it. And this is one way of looking at how we can put languages in places that workers or anyone can rely on in terms of as that voice to support some of the issues that they face when it comes to racism. So it's not to be taken lightly. It's a way of not just talking, but tools in place that we can use to battle some of that, to support ourselves. Thanks again, Faruma. So I'm gonna turn over to Brother Abdi for the correspondent.
Thank you, Sister Madam President Andrea Babington. Sisters and brothers, comrades, tonight we have only one correspondent. Sister Andrea Babington, the President of Toronto and York Regional Labor Council, has been selected as an honoree for the 100 ABC Women's Award. The event will be held on September 17th. Tickets are $150 each. The executive board recommends to purchase for 4 tickets. I move the motion. Can I have a seconder?
Brother Abdi, I will second.
Thank
Or
you.
sorry, I see the floor is seconding too.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can you put the mic?
We have 5 seconds to vote, everyone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and poll. Madam President, we have a pass with 98%.
Thank you, Sister Madam President. That concludes the correspondence. Back to you.
Oh, up next is CLC report. Thank you, Brother Abdi. I'm still trying to get this mute out of the way. Is Sister Heather Erlin here?
I sure am. Thank you, Madam President. And good evening, everybody. It is so good to see all of you here tonight as we come back from the summer. And I hope each and every one of you got some quality time with your family and friends. As we heard tonight, we have a big fight ahead with the municipal election, and I want to sincerely thank the Labor Council for their countless hours of work, everybody on the EPC, and all of the other moving pieces that get those candidate endorsements ready to go. From there, it's going to be up to each and every one of us to get those candidates elected. So I hope to see you out on the campaign trail and encouraging your networks, your coworkers, your families to go and vote for these amazing candidates. But before that, we have a very big celebration ahead, the 150th year anniversary of the Toronto and York Region Labor Council's Labor Day Parade, and I can't wait to see you in the thousands celebrating our shared struggles, but also the monumental gains of the labor movement. And I'm thrilled to say that CLC President B. Brusk will be joining us in Toronto that day. Labor Day also marks the kickoff of the Canadian Labour Congress's fall campaigns, and it is a time to say that this is our moment when we move forward together. So in this campaign, there's going to be 3 major pillars that Canada's unions as well as the CLC will be fighting towards. Number 1, we know that with the costs going up in housing and affordability, that Canada's unions are here to ensure a strong future for all workers. Too many working families can't afford to pay for the necessities like food and housing. Now is the time to showcase why strong union density and labor movement creates the means to address the corporate profiteering of the pandemic. We will also continue to fight for strong social programs that will benefit for generations to come. The best way forward and the only way to succeed at putting workers at the heart of Canada's recovery is, of course, together. And as union members, we understand the importance and value of that solidarity. So please do take note of some of the means that the CLC and Canada's unions will be putting forward in order to hold that corporate profiteering to account, as well as implementing things like the the universal childcare that the labor movement has been working on for so long, seeing those things come into full effect. On the privatization that we're seeing from Ford's announcements, recently, and certainly the bee that flew into his mouth, well done, bee. The care economy is a huge piece of where the CLC is going to be focusing efforts, as well as the OFL and I know the Labor Council. So in order to share with the public, as we all well know, when we divide Canada's healthcare, it completes an even further divide for what access to services people can achieve. So I'm very thrilled to see the federal, provincial, and local labor movements working together to ensure that we will not let the rights messaging take hold, and we will ensure to keep our Medicare system one of the pillars that keeps Canada so great. The second pillar is on just transition, and we heard Carolyn Egan speaking to this as well, that no matter what sector we work in, there are ways to make our industries greener and more sustainable for the future of everyone, to be ahead of the curve and what that looks like in your workplace. The CLC is also working with the federal government as well as the federal NDP to look at what a true just transition will look like. It will mean investments into green infrastructure so workers can help build a strong economy and clean environment, and put at the center of any climate action the just transition for workers into meaningful employment. The final pillar is around the social safety net. So we know that when folks have gotten through this pandemic, it's because of our social safety nets here in Canada that we're able to weather through these challenging times. So I know it's already been a long meeting tonight, but I'm also wanting to announce that we are in the final processes of hiring the final rep position who will be overseeing the Toronto and York Region Labour Council, as well as 7 others. So that news is coming very soon, and I think the Labour Council will be extremely excited when you hear who it is. But I'll leave it there for now, and looking forward to seeing you this weekend, as well as on the doors for the municipal election. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you very much. Okay. Up next, Council Project. Steve, I think I saw you just now. Not sure if you're still around.
Yep, I'm here. I don't have anything particular to announce. I'm really looking forward to on Monday. I'll be leading the effort at the end.
You're really serious when you say you have nothing to say. I think we lost him.
No, I'm here.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Is that it for you, LCS, or is there additional?
Yeah, no, that's it for now.
Okay, any committee report?
Is it okay if I go now,
Go ahead.
Andrea? Okay, it's Keith Menezes, USW 9197. And I would like to report back on the committee. We had the iWalk in June, and we got some real positive feedback from that, and which is really going to help us in organizing our next conference. I also would like to let you know that in the coming 7 weeks, the Equity Committee is going to help get the candidates endorsed today to be elected. And that's my report for today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, for unions report, anyone for report from your union? Okay, am I missing for a union report, anyone? Okay.
Yeah, I don't see any hands up, including in the other screens.
Yes, okay. Okay, thank you. So as usual, before we close off again, just to say thank you for staying on with us. Very tense conversation that we've been having for a while, and I think it's a good thing. But the good part about it, before we leave, we always try to leave you first with a song just to soothe the mind before you go. And I'm gonna turn over to Skylar for a closing song tonight. Skylar, or is that you, Susan?
I can do it. I can put it up there. So it's a rendition of Solidarity Forever, which seems so appropriate given Labor Day is coming up, the OPSU struggles, all the other struggles that we'll also be highlighting at Labor Day. And it's a different, it's by a young person. So it's a slightly different one with exactly the same words that many of us are used to listening to. So here it comes, Solidarity Forever, and good night when it's over.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. Is there aught we have in common with the greedy parasite who will lash us into serfdom and will crush us with his might? Is there anything left for us to do but organize and fight? For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. It is we who plowed the prairies, built the cities where they trade, dug the mines and built the workshops, endless miles of railroad laid. Now we stand outcast and starving midst the wonders we have made, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. All this world that's owned by idle drones is ours and ours alone. We have laid the wide foundations, laid them skyward stone by stone. It is ours not to slave in, but to master and to own, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. They have taken untold millions that they never toiled to earn, but without our brain and muscle not a single wheel can turn. We will break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. In our hands is placed a power greater than their hoarded gold, greater than the might of armies magnified 1,000-fold. We will bring to birth a new world from the ashes of the old, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. For the union makes us strong.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you. See you Monday.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See you
Good
Monday.
night, everybody.
Okay.
See people tomorrow as well on the
See you
line.
tomorrow. I'll be
See you
there.
tomorrow at Carlin's View.
We're gonna make some good trouble for those OPSU workers.
Woohoo!
Has the recording stopped?
I will stop the recording. Just give me